Thank you for coming on with us. Today we have
My
Mr.
pleasure.
Amol Inamdar here, co-founder and CEO of Finarya Tech. And welcome, sir. And
Thank you.
to start off with, sir, you have a very extensive background with banking. And in last couple of years, Finarya Tech is also establishing its grounds. So if you could throw some light on, how was your journey from being a banking professional, holding a lot of senior roles to co-founding Finarya Tech.
So, first of all, thanks for this interview. So, my entire journey started actually with predominantly with Axis Bank, I will say, and the entire credit for whatever I have been doing today, the foundation has been laid by the organization that I work with. And there were multiple, many CEOs under whose leadership that I worked actually over a period of time, almost two decades, and that has been the major boost for me in terms of the knowledge that I gained through all my entire career that I had. And my entire experience spanned right from finance, auditing, accounting, compliance, risk management, managing technology. So I'm not a tech person, but I am a completely domain person. But I leverage a lot of technology, even in my earlier stint within the bank, to manage my, a lot of profiles that I managed. I always ensured that I leverage technology to ensure that productivity and effectiveness is coming out over there, and it is getting displayed completely. So that has been my base, and I since I come with a finance background, compliance, audit, and all this background, this is completely a control function. And being a control function guy, always I have seen, we are nuts and bolt guys actually. So I have been there, done that. That model is there. I've lived the journey of GRC, and I actually worked on applications which were implemented in the bank for a longer period of time. I always felt that there is a need where we felt that, why can't we have our own GRC, especially the
Hmm.
Indian context. Okay.
Correct.
And most of the GRC platforms that were there, that were US based companies. Uh, my primary inspiration came from that fact that I wanted to do something very different. Okay. And way back in 2007 is my first stint within the bank, where I got the opportunity to lead a particular large team, where I implemented a large ERP application for the bank. And then I did a lot of tech implementations, okay, right from Oracle GL implementation to Procure to Pay solutions and many other platforms.
Interesting.
So while this entire journey was going on, I always felt that there is some connect between what I understand and what I can do with technology. And we today also say that we are not a complete 100% tech company. I don't want to say we are, of course, a tech company, but we are a domain driven technology company. So we bring strong domain, and that is what was the inspiration for me to take this leap forward.
Right. So congratulations on taking the leap. It's
Thank you.
not everybody's cup of tea to jump onto and follow the dream, or setting certain vision. So if I had to ask you, when you talk about setting up Finaria Tech, you would have set down certain ground rules in terms of mission and vision statements. So what were those?
So our vision statement is very clear. Our entire thing is customer focus is the most important thing for us. Okay. Today, when we look at all our solutions that are created, okay, the products that we have, though we are a product company, we are completely custom friendly. So we are completely agile. Being a startup, we are highly agile as far as the customer requirements are there. And as I earlier mentioned to you, my entire journey when I lived that within the bank, I always felt that ear to the customer, being to the ground, understanding the pain points of the customer at the ground level, that is the most important thing that is there.
Correct.
So we always want to ensure that we give that kind of customer experience. And as I mentioned, domain is our strength. So we ensure that our customers don't have to go through that painful cycle of explaining us the things as far as the GRC domain is concerned. So that is the biggest strength that we bring on the table actually. And our vision always was to create a strong platform. Okay. And when I lived this journey, okay, I have seen that there are so many things that shaped up this entire platform thinking, right from demonetization to COVID to the regulatory stance that has
Correct.
changed over a period of time actually.
Correct.
And always now you see today the regulator is completely very clear that governance is the mainstay for the organizations.
Mm.
if they want to perform and they want to take the organization to the next level, the strengthening the governance is the most important aspect.
Correct.
Profitability, growth, and all those sales aspects are definitely there, but governance is the mainstay. So our motto is that we help the organizations to reimagine governance. Okay, there are first line of defense, there is second line of defense, there is third line of defense. There have been solutions for second and third line, but we have seen seldom any companies providing solutions for the first line of defense, which is the business and the operations team.
Correct.
We have done a lot of work over there, and we want to take those steps to help the organizations reimagine governance. So reimagining governance is our motto.
Yes.
And that is where we want, and I'll say coupled with strong technology platform, excellent customer experience and service that we want to provide. And I completely come with a culture of ethical models, okay, that I have followed all through my life within the organization. Also, we were ensuring that everything is followed in a very ethical way. Okay, our product name is ethical.
Ethical, yes, I was
Okay. And so that says it all, that
yes.
we want to ensure that the organizations with whom we work in the most ethical way, and we are able to provide them that level of comfort that they don't have to go anywhere. We are a one-stop shop for all their JRC needs.
Right. So when you mentioned reimagining governance, and you also mentioned domain driven, so how do you balance it? How do your products and services balance this aspect?
So when we say that we are a domain driven organization, as I earlier mentioned, that I completely come with a control function background. Okay.
Right.
So I have myself been in that journey where I have managed finance, I have managed auditing, journeys within the bank. I manage the compliance, I manage the regulatory expectations. Actually, when regulators were on board,
correct,
we used to manage the regulatory expectations in terms of managing the interactions, understanding what the regulator wants. So all those journeys we have actually seen. Okay, I've actually lived that journey all through my life. Okay, correct. And that is where the strength of the domain comes in. Okay, so what we are able to say is that, as I mentioned, and we have so many products now. We have products right from service quality. We have product for branch operation excellence and governance. While I mentioned branch, these are for customer touch points, but these are industry agnostic. They can
right,
even be used at the central functions. Okay.
correct.
We have products for the legal team. We have a lens module, which is the law enforcement notices system. Okay. We have an audit management capability. We have compliance module. We have complete ORM suite, including third-party risk management, product process approval, compliance modules. We have a very unique offering that I brought actually, and this is from my personal experience that I learned within my earlier stint within the organization. We call it Unified Integrated Governance Framework. Okay. So we have found that there are so many audits happening within the organization, but there is no single platform for the organizations to have a unified way to look at this audit related journeys. So right. We have multiple products, and that's why we say that we are a domain driven organization. So with my experience and with the strength that I have along with my other founding partners, we have put that domain together. Okay. And one of my board member, Mr. Sanjay Narkar, comes with a strong experience of IT background. He was the CTO of IDFC First Bank. Yeah. So he brings that immense knowledge in terms of the technology platforms that actually are required within the organization to scale and take it to the next level. Okay. So we've leveraged that. We leverage our domain experience. We leverage our technology strengths, and that is how we are able to help the organization to reimagine governance.
Correct. So just going back a bit, when coming from a background of a strong, large bank and setting up a startup, you must have faced certain set of challenges. So as a point of a co-founder and CEO, what were those challenges which you would like to highlight, and what was how could you overcome it?
So that's a great question, and there, as a startup founder, definitely every founder has to go through some level of difficulties actually. As far as our journey is concerned, I'll say that the biggest challenge was thrown to us, that was during the COVID period. Though our company got registration done in the month of July 2020, but our work started in Jan 2020. Okay. And the moment we started our work, within few months, COVID struck. Okay. And that was the most difficult time for us. Okay. But that actually threw up a lot of opportunities also for us. Okay. So one of the major difficulty that we faced during the COVID period was, of course, work from home was one of the area which was actually constraining us to move at a faster pace for our product development. So I'll say that the initial phase when we had planned our product development journey, we had to take little more time. because naturally when COVID struck,
Right.
there were a lot of constraints to operate. Okay, that was a bigger challenge. Another thing that actually hit us largely during the COVID period was the finance part. So
Right.
I'll say everything happened digital. The tech resource journey, sorry, took a major hit in terms of the cost. Our cost definitely went too much higher, is
Higher.
what I can say. So the cost actually went through the roof for a longer period of time. But as I mentioned, this gave us COVID also gave us a longer period to consolidate and build the product the way we wanted actually. So that gave us also enough time. So I'll say there are multiple things that happen when there are there is any adversity. You have to find out some opportunity within that adversity actually, and that's what we precisely did. That though there were cost pressures and everything, we took an opportunity to build a very strong product. Okay, with our first customer, we did a lot of initially we did a POC. We got some time on hand actually.
Yes.
Okay, organizations also were having that kind of leverage. Everyone wanted to leverage technology at that point in time to ensure that their governance related areas and everything are taken to the
Correct.
next level.
Correct.
So that gave us enough time. So these were some of the challenges, and acquiring people became a little bit of a problem at that point in time. So during the COVID period, nobody wanted to make a change. Okay,
Yeah.
so when we wanted resources, it was little more difficult, is what I can say, because naturally nobody would like to transition, and that too at that point in time, nobody would like to transition to a startup for working with them. Okay, yes. So that I will say was one of the toughest part in my stint as a startup founder. But today we have grown strong, and we have understood what were we learned a lot also during the COVID period. Okay, and those learnings have actually helped us take the organization to the next level. Today we are a 5-year-old organization, and we are much more stronger. Correct. And resilient, is what I will say.
Right. So when it comes to this domain, GRC specifically, now like in last couple of years, the prominence and the significance of this domain has increased a lot because government is also heavily focused on that. So two questions here I will ask. One, like when you are competing with larger players who are providing solutions under GRC, and especially in a domain like BFSI where they would prefer very some big names to back their operations, creating a space or carving out a niche for yourself. How did you go about that?
So we had a very clear roadmap, as I mentioned to you earlier. While I was working within the organization, I knew that we are going to compete with biggies. Okay, yes. So as I mentioned, they are all US based companies. Okay, but we are a very agile organization. As I mentioned, we leverage a lot on our domain strength. Okay, so the biggest advantage with Finarya today is that we are highly domain rich. Okay, and we have strong team members who bring a lot of domain experience. Okay, we combine that with technology that will help the organizations. Our implementation cycles are very fast. Okay, and we don't depend on major implementation partners. Of course, we would like to become an OEM at some point in time, and then the natural path for a large organization which so many are there in the market, they largely operate on a SI model or a channel partnership model. So we will of course head in that direction at some point in time. But that's our biggest strength. Our implementation cycles are very fast. Okay, today we are seeing that the product is ready. We are able to implement this within the client environment within 3 to 4 months. Okay, that's a very within anything getting implemented in an organization within 90 days is a big value that adds within the organization as well. And execution is our biggest strength. Okay, so even I bring that lot of experience that I drew from my earlier stint with the bank. Okay, and I would thank Axis Bank and the management and all my mentors in the earlier organization, that today whatever strength I have been in a position to with manage this kind of journey. Okay, this is all from the experience that I have actually been there. And as I mentioned to you, I am a nuts and bolt guy. I've worked, been there, done that. Model is there. We have people who have actually worked on ground. So we understood the pain point of the customer. Okay, exactly. So that is what helps us, and we are highly cost effective. Okay, we align with the customer expectations. So we understand that when you operate in a market which is highly competitive, you have to manage your cost pressures and everything coming from the customers very well. Okay, but we are very cost effective, and we are able to align well with the customer expectations. There are customers when they say that we have some pressure, so we are able to take either a capex model or an opex model. So we
Correct.
align with them, and we are quite flexible as far as our even pricing strategy and
Correct.
everything is concerned. So that brings us to a very next level as far as competing with other large organizations that is concerned.
Yeah, time to market is and implementation time is a big consideration when it comes to organizations. So going forward, like in the next year, like with the SEBI compliance laws in place and DPDP being discussed, what other key trends do you see in this particular governance, risk, and compliance segment?
So the major thing that is now coming up is, one is the entire point that I mentioned, that the first line of defense, second line of
Correct.
defense, third line of defense. The major trend that we are seeing now, and this comes from my personal experiences. So earlier, what used to happen is, when the first line I mean by business and operations, the second line is your control function, that is a finance team, there is a CFO office, then the risk CRO office, and
Correct.
the chief compliance officer. Okay, and the last line of defense is the audit head.
Correct.
I have seen a major sea change happening with the regulator also driving this change, that there is now a convergence happening with all these
Okay.
three of them. Gone are those days when everyone was operating in a siloed mode. Okay, today ops team, business team, CRO office, CXO office, customer experience head, that's coming as a big
Yes,
coming in a
CX,
big way.
the CX series.
So CX series, so customer experience has become a big thing. Banking ombudsman, SEBI, everyone, all the regulators are worried about the customers. Okay,
Correct.
they want that when the licenses are given to the organizations to operate, they operate in a very optimum and efficient way, so that the customer experience is not getting impacted, and
Right.
the investors' money and everything is also protected. Okay, so I see a big convergence coming out over there, right from this first, second, and third line of defense.
Right.
So today, most of the organizations, I'm sure they are working in that way, that they all sit together and decide the governance strategy for the organizations. That's a big change that has
Correct.
happened, and that you will see coming up in a big way for other organizations also to follow. See, this many organizations are large organizations are definitely able to do this because they have that bandwidth.
Yes.
But there will be small setups, fintech startups, small payment banks, small finance banks, and all. They will also have to spruce up NBFCs,
Correct.
upper layer, mid layer, lower layer. All these NBFCs, they will have to spruce up, and they also have to adopt to this kind of a strategy. Okay.
Correct.
Second big thing that is going to come as a trend is, of course, we all know about AI. Okay, so we'll have to see how agentic AI works for governance related areas, but there may be so many other ways for leveraging AI within our setup. Okay, so our strategy is first implement the product. Okay, because most of the time we have seen that banks, NBFCs, or many of the insurance company, mutual funds, they are at very different stages of maturity.
Correct.
Okay, every organization is not at the same scale and pace. Okay,
Correct.
so first step is bring them from the manual mode to a digital mode. So we have strong platforms, so we put them on this journey. Let the organization take the steps to use technology, adopt the technology. Okay, adoption is a bigger challenge, but now that with the digital arena, that adoption has become much faster and much easier, is what I can say today. Okay, so slowly adoption of technology will happen. Once your technology adoption happens, that is the time when you actually have the necessity to put in the AI layer. Okay, so that is the next step. That is what I can see, that AI will definitely change how things are going to operate and how the governance will be seen using the AI for the organization as a whole. And of course, as you rightly mentioned, SEBI and even RBI. So there are DPDP regulations that have kicked in. Okay, that is going to be a big change as far as the governance from customer standpoint is concerned. Okay, so these are some of the key trends that we can see that will shape up how the governance is changing within the organization.
Right. And in terms of Finarya Tech, like how do you? What's the roadmap ahead? Like will we see new products and what is the expectation in terms of growth also?
So we already have 9 to 10 products already ready. Okay, which I mentioned, right from service quality to operational excellence. Okay, branch operational excellence. Then we have law enforcement notices system. We have compliance suite. We have ORM suite. We have audit suite. We have UIJF, which is our unified integrated governance framework. But of course, we have a full scale suite as far as we want to cater to the entire GRC market. Okay, and the full suite should be available with us. you will see us coming up with AML and many other products, DPDP.
Correct.
So there will be products on consent management.
Correct.
There will be products on other areas as well. Okay, I mentioned about third party risk, that's coming up in the big way. People are worried because today when you see look at third party risk, there is not a single organization which works without outsourcing anything. Okay, so
Right.
that's a big problem for most of the organizations. So we have modules for that, and we will keep strengthening the profile of our products. And of course, as I mentioned to you, our ear is to the ground. We understand the pain point of the customer. We connect with the customer. We also participate in a lot of conferences and events where we get a lot of feed in terms of what exactly is
Yes.
the new customer expectation, what are the things, where is it heading actually. So that is what will help us to shape up our further product journey as well actually, and the product suite that we wish to help the organization. So reimagining governance is our motto, and that is where we will see that we don't leave any single product out of our offering to the customer.
Right. I wish you all the best with that. And one last question, like, what would be your one piece of advice to entrepreneurs who want to chase their dreams?
So I'll say chasing dream is the best thing that has to be done actually, and I am completely satisfied and extremely happy with the way this journey has shaped up. Okay, my only advice will be don't look at the finance part. Don't look at how you can build a startup, how you can create money, how you can exit soon, and then there will be a lot of ambitions that you wish to fulfill with that. Focus and be passionate on your dream in terms of what exactly you want to do. Okay, so come with always a product that will help solve some problem. Okay, so if you have that mindset and if you have that thing very clearly in mind, then I think success is not far away for the founders there.
Yes. I thanks a lot for sharing your valuable inputs, and I think we had a good session. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.